Generally, when we think about felids, or as they're more commonly referred to, cats, we tend to think of solitary animals that don't appreciate the company of others. The only time we expect social interaction between cats is when disputing territory, during courtship, or when females are rearing their young. However, several cat species have been shown to display social behaviors, which may cause us to rethink how we perceive felines as the lone cats we generally think them to be. One species that stands out as the exception to the rule of cats being solitary are, of course, lions. Lions are inherently social animals, with the survival of the species strongly being linked to their social nature. Lions form unique social groups called prides, which usually consist of females, which are normally related to each other, male lions, which are normally a pair per pride that are unrelated to the females, and the cubs of all the adult lions. Now, generally, people think that prides would only have one male lion, which is true in some cases, but generally male lions form groups with other males known as coalitions. Generally, these coalitions are formed between brothers or cousins when they leave their natal pride, because that's the thing that lions do. They don't try and take over the pride they were born into, because that would just lead to incest. Looking at you, Simba. On occasions, coalitions might allow unrelated males to join them, increasing their numbers. These coalitions are helpful to males as they can collaborate to take down prey, and eventually collaborate to even take over other prides by either killing or chasing away the resident males of that pride. Lions do exhibit several unique traits that have arisen due to their social nature. Social behaviors such as head rubbing and social licking are behaviors normally only noted between a mother and her offspring in other cat species. However, we see these behaviors frequently between adult lions. The iconic roars of lions may be used between males to deter rivals and also indicate fitness to females, but are also used to locate distant pride members, kind of like a howl in wolves. The social nature of lions also has led to changes in morphology. Specifically, the manes, which are only found on male lions, is a feature likely derived due to social living. The exact function of manes are not clear. Charles Darwin initially proposed that manes may be to protect males while they're fighting, while newer research suggests that manes may be display structures to indicate fitness to other males and to females. I could probably make an entire video explaining the exact purpose of manes in lions, but whether the purpose of the mane is for defense or simply indicated to other lions, it seems clear that the mane has evolved as a result of the unique group living situation that lions have. The complex social behaviors and the morphology of lion does beg the question, how exactly did lions evolve this way, and why did none of the other 40 or so extant cat species show such complex social behaviors? One potential reason for sociality in lions is an adaptation to living in predominantly savanna habitats. See, savannas are heterogeneous, meaning the resources aren't distributed evenly, rather being found in clumps, and so to better control these clump resources, specifically the prey they feed on, social behaviors such as cooperative defending of territories will allow social animals to better defend their resources from their competitors, such as other lions or even other predators. While no other living cat species show the same degree of social behavior as lions, several extinct species of felids do show patterns of sociality that may be quite similar. If we are to look at the close extinct relatives of the highly social lion, we see that Eurasian cave lions don't really show any evidence for sociality. However, American lions do show some evidence of pride living similar to that seen in modern lions, although the evidence for this is a bit contested. American lions have a similar morphology to African lions, with American lions also likely to hunt down their prey in open environments like savannas, similar to modern lions. However, it isn't clear if American lions would have still hunted in prides like modern lions do. The main line of evidence for pride behaviors in American lions is found at the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles. Most of the American lions found here were males, around the age at which lions are expected to disperse from their parental group. However, almost no females of this age group were found at the tar pits, which may suggest, similarly to modern lions, that American lionesses stay within the pride they were born into when they reach maturity, while male lions are kicked out and have to disperse from the pride, which resulted in more males coming into contact with the tar pits, potentially searching for food from distressed animals, where they ultimately met their demise. Within the same tar pits, however, American lions were not as prevalent as the remains of another felid that's heavily debated as to whether or not they were social, Smilodon, also known as the sabre-toothed cat. specifically the North American species Smilodon fatalis. The number of individuals found in each of these tar pits does have implications to the degree of sociality on both American lion and Smilodon. In Africa, studies that play back distress calls to see how predators would react found that lions and spotted hyenas, two very social carnivores, would be the most commonly attracted to these distress calls. So using the logic of more social animals being attracted to distress calls, and the expectation that the most common predators found at La Brea tar pit would be those attracted to the distress calls of the animals that got stuck in the tar pits, and ultimately got stuck themselves, we can assume that the most common predators at these tar pits would be social ones. And this assumption does seem to be true, as solitary animals such as bears, jaguars, and pumas are rare, while direwolves, which aren't actual wolves by the way, which are considered social, were the most common predator at the site. Thus, Smilodon, the second most common predator after direwolves, may have been social. The lower number of American lions compared to Smilodon at the site could mean that lions were not as social as Smilodon, living in smaller groups, or it could just mean that lions were smarter than Smilodons and avoided these tar pits. Focusing back on Smilodon, it is noticed that they may have been ambush predators hunting in dense foliage, unlike lions which hunted in more open areas, and thus it's less likely that Smilodon hunted in groups. Smilodon also did not show as much sexual dimorphism, differences between male and female morphology, as modern and extinct lions. Thus it is unlikely that Smilodon lived in the polygynous breeding structure where males intensely competed to females, which would drive sexual dimorphism as we see in modern lions. If Smilodon did live in groups, it's thus more likely to just been composed of a monogamous pair, a male and a female, and their offspring. It should also be noted that several Smilodon specimens have been found with healed injuries, some of which would have prevented hunting for a while, suggesting that other Smilodons had to feed and protect these individuals, giving more evidence for sociality. Now, while the degree of sociality in American lions and Smilodon is a topic of debate, there is one more prehistoric cat that I would say shows the best evidence for sociality in these extinct cats. Homotherium, also known as the Scimitar-toothed cats, was a genus of large cat that was widespread, found across Eurasia, Africa, and the Americas. In Friesenhahn Cave in Texas, Homotherium serum, a North American species, were found to be abundant with hundreds of teeth and skull remains of individuals of different ages, suggesting these cats lived in social groups. Additionally, many juvenile Columbian mammoth remains were also found in this cave, suggesting that these cats specialize in hunting mammoth. And while Homotherium were a lot stronger than your typical cat, being a lot more bear-like in morphology, a lot of cooperation would still be needed to take down something like a mammoth, even if it were a juvenile, especially when looking at the elephants of today, where we see that the only predators, other than humans of course, capable of taking down an elephant are large social predators like lions that also would only ever attack juveniles. Homotherium latidens, a Eurasian and North American species, shows further genetic evidence for sociality. Scientists were able to extract and analyze the genome of a humerus fossil and found several genes linked to social behaviors. Thus we can see that at least some species of Homotherium are very likely social and also likely to cooperate to take down prey, such as mammoths. Looking back at the cats that are alive today, no other species shows the same degree of sociality as the modern lions. However, there are quite a few species that show social behaviors that we might not expect. If you know anything about social behaviors in cats, you probably already knew that cheetahs are also quite social, specifically male cheetahs. Similarly to male lions, some male cheetahs form coalitions, which usually consist of brothers born in the same litter, but just like lions, occasionally unrelated lone males may be allowed to join the coalition. The reason why females don't form groups like males do is not exactly clear, but is likely related to the fact that females are nomadic and have much bigger territories than males do. And so without the need to defend a strict territory, there's no real reason for females to group up with others, and females are perfectly capable of rearing their cubs all by themselves. Now, while sociality in cheetahs is well known and documented, you may not have known that male jaguars do a very similar thing. Research published only in 2022 reported the formation of coalitions in Llanos, Venezuela and the Pantanal of Brazil. Jaguars in these coalitions showed similar behaviors seen in lion and cheetah coalitions, such as patrolling, marking territory, invading territories of other males, defending territories from other males, foraging together although not cooperatively hunting, and sharing food. However, unlike lions and cheetahs, coalitions of jaguars tend to be a lot smaller, only consisting of 2 males. Jaguar coalitions also spend less time together. They don't cooperate with females, like seen in lions, and as mentioned earlier, they don't cooperatively hunt together to take down prey. The reason why lions, jaguars, and cheetahs form coalitions may be due to the grouping of resources, namely food and females. Male lions form coalitions to increase their chances of taking over prides, thus giving them access to females in the pride they take over. With jaguars, in areas with favorable prey conditions, female home ranges can be smaller, resulting in a higher concentration of females. Thus, males may form coalitions to better control territories and give them access to more females. However, unlike lionesses, jaguar females don't form social groups, which may force the males to split up when visiting females and could explain why male jaguars spend less time together despite being in coalitions. With cheetahs, females, as mentioned earlier, are a lot more nomadic, so unlike jaguars, females don't have smaller home ranges that the male can defend. Instead, males will defend territories where female ranges overlap, thus making it more likely for these males to encounter females. In all 3 species, then, it's likely the concentration of females in particular being the main driving force on the evolution and formation of coalitions. Now, while no other wildcat species show similar degrees of complex social behavior seen in the species we talked about so far, there are a few other reported cases of solitary cats exhibiting social behaviors. Recent studies published only in 2017 found that pumas, or cougars, or mountain lions, or whatever you want to call them, have been recorded to share food with others. This occurred in the Yellowstone ecosystem, mainly during winter, where pumas allowed other individuals to share the carcasses, their kills. The reason why pumas had allowed others to share kills may be due to most of the kills being elk, which aggregated more in the winter and are thus a preferred prey of pumas. With elk being a really big prey relative to puma body size, it might be less costly to allow another puma to eat the carcass than to risk life and limb defending it. Additionally, females tolerating males at their carcasses may provide reproductive benefits during the courtship period, which also starts around wintertime when most of the food sharing occurred. Now, sharing of food wouldn't necessarily classify pumas as a full-on social species, as they do still spend most of their time alone, but this does go to show that a solitary lifestyle does not necessarily mean an animal is non-social, and many solitary animals like pumas may often interact with each other. A similar case occurs in tigers, where the vast majority of tigers are solitary. However, several unique social interactions have been reported in Bengal tigers specifically. There have been at least 2 reported cases of male Bengal tigers raising their cubs after their mother had passed away, which is very bizarre, as in with most cat species, the males play no role in raising their offspring. In 2023, in Bandhavgarh National Park, a very unique situation was documented where a male was found with 3 of his cubs, their mother, as well as a subordinate male thought to be the other male's son, creating this very unique tiger family unit which have never been seen before. While none of these social interactions between tigers have been scientifically published yet, these do further show how otherwise solitary animals can sometimes display unique social behaviors we may not expect. Now, earlier in the video I did mislead you when I said that there's no other social wildcat species, because there is one other species, although it's not exactly a wild one. Domestic cats or house cats are cat subspecies or species depending which taxonomy you use, domesticated from African wildcats thousands of years ago. However, domestic cats show a lot more social behaviors which are not seen at all in their wild relatives they were domesticated from. In human environments, domestic cats form social bonds with other cats as well as humans, and these social bonds carry over into feral cats living in wild environments away from humans and direct human influence. Feral cats are fully capable of living by themselves. However, like lions, female cats form groups in which they share territory and cooperatively raise and protect their young. The benefits of females living together is that it helps outcompete other females they can protect from males, which have been known to engage in infanticide, killing kittens, and other predators. Due to domestic cats preying on relatively small prey items such as rodents or birds, these cats would have never developed group hunting seen in lions and cheetahs. Oddly enough, Unlike other social cats, male free-roaming domestic cats don't form coalitions with other males and often remain solitary or associate with female groups. As we've seen in other social cat species, it's much more likely for females to form social groups in areas where there's a higher concentration of food. In fact, it's this higher concentration of food that may have led to cats being domesticated in the first place. Food stores of early human settlements were thought to have brought with them many rodents that naturally would eat from these stores, and with an influx of rodents in human settlements, their predators would follow, specifically wildcats. And it would be in these settlements that we assume where cats were first domesticated, for their service of pest control and also for companionship. The social behaviors we see in cats today, however, may have arisen before humans started domesticating them, with the higher densities of cats drawn to the abundance of food in human settlements, developing social behaviors in order to tolerate the other cats in these urban environments, and may have later helped in developing bonds with humans when we started domesticating them. Alternatively, given that all other wildcat species don't display any social behaviors even when food is grouped in one area, it is also possible that sociality arose directly as a result of domestication, with humans artificially selecting or breeding cats that are more social with humans and also other cats. Fun fact, leopard cats were also domesticated in China around 5,000 years ago, so these may have been another cat species where sociality arose directly due to human influence, although unfortunately, these domesticated leopard cats have long become extinct, though their legacy does kind of live on through Bengal cats, which are a cat breed that arose from crossing wild leopard cats with domestic cats. So, looking back on all the social behaviors in these various cat species, does this mean that cats are the super social animals we never expected them to be? Well, no, the vast majority of felid species are still solitary, and even though solitary cats, other than lions, can live perfectly fine by themselves. But this does go to show that a solitary animal doesn't necessarily mean no social behaviors at all. We're still finding new social interactions in species which we've never imagined to be social before, changing perspectives on species we thought we had figured out decades ago. So who knows which other cat species will show themselves not to be as antisocial as we expect from a typical cat. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed one of the first videos on our channel, and really hope to see you in the future as we keep making content and learning about our planet and the life on it.